Just a quick note before we move on to the final section of this series. If this is how God deals with sin, and we're currently in the middle of one of these patterns right now, so the world is sliding into immorality and God sees it and He's giving us a grace period before Jesus returns to pour out His wrath, then who exactly are the prophets for this generation? We saw that in Noah's day and Lot's day and with the Amalekites, that God always sends prophets into the grace period to warn people of what's to come and to offer them a chance to escape. Well, the simple answer is that we, the church, are the prophets for this generation. Jesus commissioned us saying, "I have been given all authority in heaven and earth. Therefore go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Teach these new disciples to obey all the commands I have given you. And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Now God, in His fairness, won't bring down the final curtain until everyone has had a chance to hear and respond. Jesus said, "And the good news about the kingdom will be preached throughout the whole world, so that all nations will hear it, and then the end will come." It's our job to do that preaching, to be postmodern prophets. And so the first question is, what are you doing to reach the nations? Ask yourself genuinely this question, and then do something. Anything, it doesn't matter, just do something. And then the second question is, are we making sure that we don't fall into this left pit? Peter writes, "Since everything around us is going to be destroyed like this, what holy and godly lives you should live, looking forward to the day of God and hurrying it along. On that day He will set the heavens on fire and the elements will melt away in the flames. But we are looking forward to the new heavens and new earth He promised, a world filled with God's righteousness. And so, dear friends, while we are waiting for these things to happen, make every effort to be found living peaceful lives that are pure and blameless in His sight. And remember, our Lord's patience gives people time to be saved." So Peter emphasizes that while we wait, we have to continue living pure and holy lives, even in the middle of the moral breakdown. We have to continue holding on to these virtues tightly. And that will increasingly be a problem for us, because as culture pulls left, the church will increasingly risk being dragged along with it.
Marriage, gay and straight, is a gift to the world because the world needs more, not less. Love, fidelity, commitment, devotion, and sacrifice.
I think it's great that you all made a conscious choice to include gay marriage in here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why?
Because one of the oldest aches in the bones of humanity is loneliness. I mean, it's one of the things that goes way, way back. Loneliness is not good for the world. And so, whoever you are, gay or straight, it is totally normal, natural, and healthy to want somebody to go through life with. It's central to our humanity.
Yeah.
We want someone to go on the journey with.
When is the church going to get that?
We're close, I
think it's evolving. I think it's...
Lots of people are already there. We think it's inevitable, and we're moments.
A moment away from the church accepting it.
Absolutely.
Really? Yeah.
Because as soon as you meet someone, and most of the time when people have resistance to this, and I say to them,
you think we're moments away?
I think culture is already there, and the church will continue to be even more irrelevant when it quotes letters from 2,000 years ago as their best defense. When you have in front of you flesh and blood people who are your brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and coworkers and neighbors, and they love each other and they just want to go through life with someone.
Well, you sound really progressive to me, because I've talked to pastors who are still saying that...
I think there are a lot of people who, as they see culture moving, their response is to dig in deeper.
Yeah.
Is to hold their ground, fight against it. So I think that there are both things happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are churches that are moving forward or into that area, and there are churches who are just almost regressing and making it more of a battle.
Yeah.
See what they're saying here? Because culture is going that way, the church should also go that way or risk being left behind. And so many liberal Christians today are already abandoning truth and righteousness because they don't think that it really matters to God. They're already starting to picture God as just a liberal hippie who only wants peace and love. They're already starting to erase truth from their Bible and questioning its inerrancy. It's only letters from 2,000 years ago, as Rob Bell puts it. And they're saying that to spare the feelings of homosexuals and transsexuals and friends from other faiths. They're already abandoning righteousness too to sleep with boyfriends and girlfriends, and they're already submitting to hedonism.
I don't think drinking's a sin. Right. But you
I mean, I grew up.
a minute ago you said getting drunk was.
My dad is a preacher. I grew up as in a Christian home. I know God. I have a relationship with God, and everybody sins. I mean, I don't think going out and drinking every once in a while is a sin.
But a second ago you said getting drunk is.
Yeah.
And then before that you said you were going to go get drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what do you think about that?
I think you're right. For some reason, I just am so caught up in the world. Like, it's like I turn to God, but then when everybody else is not around, I let other things get back in. And I've done that my entire life. My entire life, I've always done that. I have a lot of Christian friends, but they all do this too.
A lot of Christians now swear and curse quite freely too, because they believe that it doesn't really matter to God, that God isn't really concerned with righteousness. There's a general diminishing sense of holiness even in the church. And this is a problem, because how can we be prophets warning this generation about the real judgment to come when we're right there in the left pit along with them? What if Noah hadn't bothered preaching or finishing the ark, but just decided to fall in with the crowd because it was easier? He would have been destroyed along with everyone else. And that's the risk that the church is running when it too abandons its Great Commission to just fall into the left pit along with the world. And there's no excuse for us in this. We know what's coming. We know that we're just living in a grace period. So what on earth are we doing in there? It's time to come out of that left pit and learn to love holiness and truth once again. These things matter to God. They should matter to us. And with that said, that's exactly what I intend to do in the final section of this series. We're going to start talking about righteousness again, and we're going to start reasserting some truth, even in a generation that does not want to hear it.